Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of The Expendable Show. I know it's not Wednesday. I missed the Wednesday show. I was driving around doing work and didn't make it home in time. And Bonnie, she's in the house. And Bonnie's going to be famous for 2 shows in a row. We're going to talk about Bonnie today. But if you like my show, like, subscribe, ding the bell. That's how the show grows. The show is growing. I love it. I'm having fun. I have fun knowing that my show is growing. I have fun knowing that there's more people that I'll get a chance to meet and talk to. It's my favorite part. Now let's throw the sponsors up there. This episode is brought to you by Gatsby Trading Solutions and the Islamabad Telegraph. There's that. I got more sponsors I got to add to that. I just haven't done it yet. So I have like 2 major news things that has happened, and then just in the last 24 hours. So a few days ago, I was interviewed by a news outlet. It's based out of the United States, but it's called the Media Line, and what it is it's based out of New York City. But it's ran by the State Department for the Middle East. So it's kind of like, hi, Rachel. So I want to be careful with how I say it because I do contribute to them every once in a while. The guy who's the editor for them is a very close friend of mine, and I have a ton of respect for him. He's probably one of the best writers that I've ever met. But his name's Arshad Mahmoud. And so he interviewed me. We did an article, and it was about we have an American citizen over that the Taliban has taken hostage over in Afghanistan. So there's talk that Trump may be getting ready to deal with that here in the near future. So I hope so, because we don't want Americans being held hostage overseas. That's not good. And the Taliban is doing that. They've detained him, but we don't know what the charges are. There's no charges. They haven't said what he did wrong. So we think that they just nabbed him up to negotiate. The theory is that they're negotiating the release of some of Osama bin Laden's people that were held in Guantanamo. So long story short, that article got picked up, and that happens sometimes. When you write for some of these mid-major news outlets, they'll if a major one sees you and they like the article, they'll buy it and publicize it, and that happened. So that is from, this is it, the Jerusalem Post. And this right here is actually the segment that I wrote in. And the Jerusalem Post is one of the largest news outlets on the planet. So this is like making it to the Super Bowl in journalism. So I'm still kind of in awe because of the amount of people that will read this, and my words and my theories and my thoughts. But it's probably going to lead to some more opportunities, which every time I write something, it leads to more opportunities. So I'm very, very excited that this has happened, and I was not expecting it. I didn't think I was going to get to the Super Bowl. In my first year and a half of being an actual journalist. So I'm very excited about that. I don't even really know what to say about it. I'm so excited about it. It's just a big deal. I know everybody's gonna be like, wow, who cares? But to me, it's a big deal. It's like getting a trophy. So and I like collecting trophies. So there's that. Next, I gotta do a little something here. Maybe I should start my own police department. That would be awesome. So here is the next opportunity that I had. So I literally right before I came on, one of my friends called me. For those of you who don't know, I was in the Akbar V music video called "Shot O'Clock." It ended up reaching like 1 million views or something like that. It's a rap song. It was one of the coolest experiences of being behind the scenes and being in a video, but not only that, but getting to see how they produce it, how they do the lighting, how they do the sound, how they do the camera angles. There's a lot of like strategic thought that goes into it that I never thought would be a part of that. And it was pretty cool. But my friend Amon, she got a hold of me and she said, Eric, I need your help. We're putting on this 404-day weekend. This will be the second one. Last year, 10,000 people bought tickets, and they had there were more people, like an estimated 10,000 more people that wanted to go, but they didn't have enough room. So the fire marshal shut the venue down, and then it spilled out in the streets. They just set it up out in the street. So this is like one of Atlanta's big cultural hip hop days. Food days, a lot of different cultures. It's turned into a huge deal. And so I'm going to be helping out with the marketing of this. And, obviously there's some pay that goes involved with that, but, I'm honored that I was considered for this. This is going to be like major sponsorships. I think the top sponsor slots like $150,000 just to get your name on something. So this is a big deal. It's going to be covered by BET and a lot of major media outlets across the United States. So it'll be fun to have a staple in that. And if I can achieve some success, it'll probably be something I do every year, which is it's fun. So that I'm excited for that. There's going to be a bunch of rappers perform. I don't really know who any of them are. I don't listen to rap, but I do like food, and there's going to be a lot of food there. So I'm excited about that. I almost went last year and I didn't because I was like, I don't know. But I'm definitely, obviously, I'm going to be there this year because I got a part in the whole scheme of things. So there's that. Okay, so let's get into our statistics. Gas went up just a hair, 287 a gallon. So we need to get that under control. I think once this Venezuela thing cools down, it'll start going back down. Mortgage rates have done nothing. I know, right, Rachel? Yeah, who would have thought? It's just like, so a lot of people don't know. I have a cousin. The tiny little town that my mom's side of the family grew up in Ohio is called Convoy. So Convoy, I don't know, how many people's in Convoy, Rachel? Like maybe 1,000, 2,000 at the most. It's just a tiny little town, and it's a very old family town. It's definitely a good old boy town. But my family's been there for probably 200 years, and so my cousin, his name's Cassidy Feesby, and he is the bass guitar player for Dierks Bentley. And so when Rachel says that, like she said, moving up in the world from our Podunk home area, it does ring a bell because it's already happened in my family. My cousin Cassidy went from this little band kid basically self-taught himself how to do everything, and now he's on one of the top country acts in the world. So that's pretty cool. Oh, Convoy has a Dollar General now. So I mean, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. They were the Knights. When I ended up transferring out of that area when I was in middle school because they didn't have football at the time, and I wanted to play football. So I transferred to the school right next to there. And then like the year after they got football, but I didn't want to go back. So, but my whole family's on my mom's side is from that little town. But yeah, I'm not doing anything that important though, Rachel. I just get on TV and talk, and I write articles, and I aggravate people. That's it. But here in Atlanta, I seem to have found my little niche. which is exciting. I enjoy it. There's so many. I've met so many people. Rachel called me a traitor. You know how many times I got called a traitor after I transferred out of Crestview? Oh my gosh, probably every 10 minutes. I had all my buddies call me up, traitor, and then they'd hang up on me because back then we didn't have caller ID, so they prank me and say stupid shit. And but then they'd invite me to all the parties. So whatever. So the mortgage rates didn't do anything. Trump and Jerome Powell actually just today we're having some beef about that, where statistically and data driven wise, there should have been a rate drop today, but it didn't happen. So Trump's a little upset about that. Jerome Powell got on TV and started mumbling about who knows what and didn't do anything. So the mortgage rates are still the same. Trump's approval ratings at 42.6, and the Dow Jones closed at over 49,000 again today. So the economy's in good shape. So I want to talk today a little bit. There's several things we're going to talk about today, but one of the things we're going to start off with, Ilhan Omar, married to her brother. Ilhan Omar was assaulted during a Minneapolis town hall on January 27, 2026, when a man rushed towards her and sprayed her with an unknown liquid from a syringe. He was like, and it got on her shirt. She was not injured and continued speaking after the incident. So this happened during her town hall. She made this big announcement. The dude was sitting right in the front row. Like I have a tough time buying into that this actually happened. I feel like this dude probably was like a paid actor or something, that they staged this to try to get some sympathy for Ilhan because she's going through all these scandals. I know they're investigating her for her funds. Like she went from having a negative net worth to being worth millions and millions of dollars now, like just in a few years. So I think this was probably a staged event, probably with the help of the Mr. Mayor Fry and Governor Tampon. So she declined to leave the event. So that's what the other part that I think is weird. For one, she lunged at him with a pen in her hand, like she was going to stab him. And like, then she walked away, and then they were like, you got to go. You got to leave. We don't know what he sprayed at. She's like, no, I'm okay. And then somebody goes, oh my God, it smells horrible. So I don't know what she got sprayed with, but if I was on her security detail, event is over. We're going to go get this tested. I need to get this shirt off of you as fast as possible. So it just tells me that this was like this stage, like I'm so brave and where I'm resilient. People can spray cat piss on me, and you know what I'm saying? Like it don't make any sense. Like her security, if her security detail didn't shut that down, they all need fired. I'd fire every one of them because they're not keeping her safe. That could have been, acid. It could have been, it could have been a bunch of fentanyl. You don't know. Like, come on, man. Staged. But the guy's name was Anthony James Kazmierczak. He was 55 years old. He was booked into the Hennepin County Jail on suspicion of third-degree assault. I'll bet you $1 bajillion that dude, as soon as the media forgets about it, he'll be let out and the case will go away. Forensic testing is underway to determine the exact substance used. Yeah, I'm sure. Omar stated that she would not be intimidated and continued the event. President Donald Trump, of course, President Trump, he's going to say something awesome. He said that Omar probably had herself sprayed. It's so funny because Trump has zero sympathy at all. And it's funny because you just sit around, you wait, you go, he's going to say something any second. And then he does, and it's like every time he says something, it's more ridiculous than the last time. So I love it. They deserve all of that. So that's that. We'll see what happens if we ever do find out exactly what she was sprayed with. Who knows? But Trump also went to Iowa. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit more because I think that Trump is doing something that the Republicans have needed to do for a long time. And I'll guarantee you that our worthless GOP is going to adopt continuing to do a strategy like this after Trump is done being president. Because as soon as Lara Trump was done being the co-chair of the GOP, they went back to being worthless again. So it just shows that without Trump there holding everybody's hand, nothing's going to get done. So I'm going to bring this up because I want people to recognize that this is what President Trump is doing. And what if the GOP wants to survive the future past Donald Trump, they need to continue doing stuff like this. So Donald Trump used his Iowa rally to launch a major 2026 midterm push, centering his message on the economy, falling prices, and warnings that GOP losses would derail his agenda. The economy has the headline message. Trump emphasized that he described the prices of things as falling prices, rising wages, and booming economy under his administration. He repeatedly blamed sleepy Joe Biden for inflation and border issues, saying he inherited a mess. And he did. That's fair. Trump warned supporters that losing Congress would jeopardize tax cuts, border policies, and his broader second-term agenda. We know that's going to happen. They'll go right back to the Biden policies because that's what the Joe Biden was puppeteered to do by Europe. So Iowa remains central to GOP strategy with several competitive House races and Trump's strong historical performance there, which Trump did there in all of his elections, actually. So Trump largely stuck to a prepared script early on, delivering a more disciplined economic message before shifting to immigration, crime, and foreign policy. He also revisited familiar themes, including claims of rigged election and criticism of the Biden administration. We know, we lived it. So this rally marked his first major campaign-style event of 2026, signaling the start of an aggressive effort to maintain GOP control of Congress. Iowa's competitive districts mean the state could play an outsized role in determining the House majority, which it's going to. And I'm glad that Trump is understanding that. Iowa is always a key pickup. So without going too technical with it, so some argue that Trump pays close attention to polling on issues like immigration, the economy, and foreign policy. Now I'm going to stop with that because that's exactly what he does. There's not a maybe he's doing that. Look, I literally watched the last 4 days of Fox News where they got up on the, like, almost every single time they had a chance, Fox News was talking about Donald Trump needs to do this. This is what will keep the base. And this is where Donald Trump is. The polls are hurting him here. And then Donald Trump shifts, with exit polling from the last election in November. The exit polling showed that the GOP did not emphasize enough on the rising economy and the lowering of the affordability was getting better. So it was 2 days after that, Donald Trump said, hey, we need to start praising the affordability. We need to start praising the work we've done on making things affordable. Hey, Kathy. So Donald Trump is a master of data. He's seeing the data and he's adjusting, because what that proves is that Donald Trump really is going with what the American people want. So if he sees polling that's not doing too well, he changes. He course corrects. And that's something Biden never did. They were sinking and then they went right off. Everybody on that ship went down because Biden wouldn't course correct, or his handlers wouldn't course correct. They rode that European World Economic Forum 17 Sustainable Development Goals right into the ground, and it cost them the election. And Kamala Harris did the same thing. She refused to course correct. orange man bad. That was their strategy, and it wasn't working. It was polling horribly, and they refused to change. Same thing now. They're doing the same exact thing now. It's why the Democrats are going to struggle, because they haven't learned their lesson yet. So, but at the same time, the GOP is facing adversity right now. So Donald Trump's paying attention to that data. Same thing when it comes to getting the Border Patrol chief out of there. The polling showed that, hey, they were doing too much. So Donald Trump said, bring the lefty in and send Tom Homan there. And that worked out great. He's gotten great polling numbers out of that by making that switch. So, and Tom Homan this morning gave a really, really good speech. This guy's just one of the most phenomenal department heads I've ever seen in government. He just gets it. And, he understands he sympathizes with the people. He sympathizes with the Border Patrol agents. He sympathizes with Homeland Security. He sympathizes with the families that are struggling. He sympathizes with the protesters. He hit every corner of the spectrum and said, look, I'm going to try to bring everybody together, and we're going to come up with some kind of compromise that makes everybody happy. I'm going to come up with a game plan. I'm going to let everybody know what the game plan is, and then we're going to get up on out of here. But at the same time, I saw Louisiana's governor was on TV talking. And I thought that he did a phenomenal job of basically mapping it out and said, look, ICE was in Louisiana, swept up all the bad guys, and there was no problems. Why? Well, because I made sure law enforcement assisted. They could get in, get the people they need, and they got out. So the difference is, you go to Minneapolis, they resisted ICE right off the bat. They wouldn't assist with none of the law enforcement stuff, and things got out of control. And now we got two dead bodies and riots. Ciao, Bonnie. You might get arrested again. You might hurt somebody's fragile feelings. So that's where that's at. And I think that going forward, when Trump's gone, this is something, these rallies, like these hands-on rallies, usually the GOP heads them up, and like some of the candidates, they'll run around, they'll do their thing. But Donald Trump is taking the reins on this, and he's pushing this through. And that's going to help strengthen the base, where if the GOP was to do this on their own, they're not going to have probably maybe only 25% of the success is what Donald Trump is going to get. People want to pack his audiences. They want to pack the arenas for him. And then bringing out Nicki Minaj this week, and she said, I'm Donald Trump's #1 fan. We need to do these things. And we're going to talk about that here in a little bit, about her role. I thought she did a phenomenal job in her speech, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So just pay attention. Urge your GOP members to be more proactive, because they're not. The GOP has always been a reactive party, and it's never worked for us. And then Donald game, and we can't go back to that passive aggressiveness. We have to stay pushing forward and keep getting out there and showing the American people what conservative values, conservative policy looks like. It helped. Donald Trump did a great job of that in his campaign. So we're going to go to New York real quick and talk about some of the contradicting things I've seen in the last 24 hours. I've entitled this segment. I always title my segments when I go into them, so I can look at it and know what I'm getting ready to talk about. So this one I entitled Gotham City now has Harvey Two Face. So we're going to talk about that. Who's Harvey Two Face, might you ask? It's Zohran Mamdani. So dozens of anti-ICE protesters were arrested inside a Manhattan hotel after NYPD officers cleared a sit-in that Mayor Mamdani publicly acknowledged, praising the protesters' rights to demonstrate, while also noting what a great job the NYPD did. So he's going, good job, protesters, but good job, NYPD. But wait a minute. It's like 60 some protesters got arrested. 60 to 70 protesters got arrested. That's crazy. We're going to talk about that, Rachel, here in a second. Bonnie's going to get she's going to be the highlight of the show. So it happened at the Hilton Garden Inn in Tribeca. Now, they were busting down windows, trying to push through the door, trying to push through the NYPD, and they had to react. Like, they gave them no choice. But it was kind of funny how Zohran Mamdani was like, we're gonna get rid of the cops and we're gonna dwindle it down. But yet when the Hilton calls and said, hey, these dumbasses are breaking our hotel, why don't you send some cops out here? He's like, yes, master, I will. And so he does. And it's funny because he's supposed to be for the non-corporations, but he got the NYPD out there as fast as he could. So it just shows you that the New Yorkers got duped. And now he don't care who you are. You're going to get arrested because it's going to poll bad. He used that base to get elected, and now he's going to backstab him. Watch. This is just the beginning. This is just his first month. And then he basically did the same thing earlier today with his free Palestine people, where the guy drove into the most historic Jewish building in the possibly this side of the hemisphere. And he was like, I stand beside my Jewish community. And bro, you just lost a bunch of Muslim votes, man. It just shows you everything he said to get elected was bullshit. And I think eventually New Yorkers aren't stupid. They're going to wisen up and see it. They get duped, but they figure it out, and eventually they get mad. The tensions with New York Police Department and ICE is starting to get a little hairy, but we'll see. Trump accounts. So this is what we're going to talk about. So a lot of people have been asking me, what is Donald Trump doing with this money? So we're going to talk about it, and I'm going to try to explain it to you the best that I can. So bear with me. So a federally supported investment account is created for eligible children seeded with $1,000 of government money. Parents and employers can add more each year. The funds grow tax advantaged until adulthood. So this is a big thing. So when you look at the grand scheme of things, when we look at underprivileged communities and they have a child, and let's say you live at the poverty level and you have a child, you get on the government's website, you file for the program. A fund is going to get made in that child's name, and it'll sit there. And even if you don't donate another penny to it, that child, by the time they're 18, is going to have about $18,000 in their bank account. If they let it ride until I think the age closer to 50,000. So there is a really good thing to help people get started in life. I think it's a phenomenal idea. It's the greatest idea I think that any president's come up with to help just help people. So this is a big deal. Now, if you can start contributing to it, I think you can contribute up to $5,000 a year. They did the math. It's over $1 million by the time they turn 28. I think it's over $300,000 by the time they turn 18. So you could set your kid up pretty damn good if you contribute to this program. Now, Trump is getting more people to help fund into this. And Nicki Minaj was one of them. She's going to donate to this program. She believes in it. I think this is going to be a great thing for at-risk communities, underprivileged communities, minority communities, backwoods communities. I think this is going to help a lot of people. I think, and 18 years when all these kids get to turn 18 and they got this money and they can have a good start at life. It's a great idea. And I'm going to call Nicki Minaj, and hell, I might get to that point one day if I keep doing what I'm doing. And we can start a jail bond, like a jail bail fund is what it's being called for the city of London, because they're at risk. This is exciting. We're getting close. Let me get through this real quick and we'll get into the good stuff. So who gets the $1,000? As of today, this program started today. Well, January 1st, they're retroacting active January 1st, but today Trump announced it officially. So children born between January 1st, 2025, I don't think that's right. I think it's supposed to be 2026. I think the media was wrong. And December 31st, 2028, they must be a U.S. citizen. They must have a valid Social Security number. So listen, pump out as many kids as you can between now and 2028. We know the liberals aren't, because they're going to keep having abortions. So let's just overpopulate the United States with conservative children, and we'll set them up with these funds, and they'll have all kinds of money by the time they turn 18. Boom. So the $1,000 automatically deposits for eligible newborns. Parents can contribute up to $5,000 a year. Employers may contribute up to $2,500 per year. So that's a big opportunity. These contributions do not count as taxable income for the employers. So there's another added benefit. There's also a separate philanthropic program that's not federal, offering $250 deposits for up to 25 million children under age 10 in certain zip codes, funded by the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation. So the Dells are contributing to this. You're starting to see more and more companies jump on board with this. I saw the list, but I didn't put it on my outline. But you can get online and search the list of donors. It's major companies, which is a big deal. We need to do as much as we can to get Americans on the right foot. And Rachel, you're right. It's almost like a guaranteed economic stimulus, because some of these kids are not going to go to college. They're going to get a job. They're going to use that money to buy cars, refrigerators, apartments, houses. Like, that money's going to get put right back into the economy. It's almost like the Doge cuts are going to get recycled through our economy over and over and over again. It's pretty amazing, like the mechanism that Trump is going to put into play that's going to pay dividends for a long, long time. It's just an economic stimulator every year. It's crazy. It's going to be crazy how that works. So in order for parents to open the account, they have to file IRS form 4547. I wonder why you named it IRS form 4547. And then you have to wait for the Treasury the Treasury Department will have a bunch of instructions of what you need to do after that. So the accounts are managed through the official Trump account system. This is not managed by Congress. Congress can't touch it. This is 100% Treasury Treasury money. Congress can't touch it. It's not like Social Security, where they can steal all of our Social Security money out of it and siphon it to transgender operas in Ireland. So enough of that. Have a bunch of conservative babies and put money in the bank, and we'll be richer. We'll be richer than the Democrats. Eventually, they're going to lose their population, because obviously, if they keep supporting abortions, there's going to be less and less Democrats. I don't think they've picked up on that yet. Or if they continue to make them all gay, obviously there's going to be a real tough time of them making babies. I don't have anything against the gay community. I just am looking at the big picture. of their methods are counterproductive for the survival of the Democrat Party. But whatever. Kentucky updates. Let's get into the Kentucky stuff. So I was looking into some stuff, and this doesn't really have anything to do with Laurel County per se. We will get to the Laurel County stuff. Actually, let's do Bonnie's stuff first. So I want to announce that Bonnie White has been exonerated from her charges. Hallelujah. The Weddleites went after her, and she won. The judge threw the case out, dismissed it, no basis for charges. I don't know what KSP was thinking. They act like they have never presented a criminal case before, apparently. But that's what happens when most of your law enforcement acts as a third world country, and that they don't evolve past the Barney Fife days. The Weddle people are not happy. I have been having, because I'm not on Facebook no more, so everybody just floods me with screenshots of everything that's happening. I've gotten probably 40 or 50 screenshots today of stuff they're crying about on there. So to add to that, today in London, also, the FBI has been nabbing people up in London. So J Money was woke up by the FBI today. And so was, I can't remember that guy's name. What's the other guy's name? Dag nabbit. Who says that? January 1st. Oh, okay. Hang on. I'm going to go find it. Brad Mallory. Thank you. So 2 people got nabbed up by the FBI today. And they're mad. This is what happens. The Weddle people can't never figure out who does anything, so they just start blaming everybody. I think they blame Bonnie. They blamed the Phelps boys. They blame. I'm sure I'm going to get blamed here pretty soon. They don't know what's going on. But I'm going to tell you what this says. One post stuck out significantly that basically tells me what they're doing, and it was J Money's post. And he said, I finally figured out all this. Just you wait and see. You'll find out about Weddle. We keep hearing this and nothing, blah, blah, blah. And so it tells me, yeah, I know, right? But what this tells me is that they went and talked to J Money and Brad Mallory specifically about Weddle. So I go, well, why did they do that? What are they trying to do? If they're asking about Weddle and they've gone to these 2 lowlifes, that's the bottom of the Weddle hierarchy. Those 2 guys right there. Who's rolling first? What did those guys tell the FBI? Because I think what they're doing is they're gonna RICO Weddle. I think they're gonna RICO the whole organization. I think they're gonna nab up all them guys, because you know how RICO cases work. RICO's a racketeering case, a federal racketeering case. So it's obviously going to be a federal case if the FBI is investigating it. So it's going to be probably a RICO case. They're going to nab up everybody because they're obviously, if they suspect those 2, they suspect more. So what they're going to do. No, I'm not even going to repeat that. I don't want to get people crying at me about it. But what is going to happen? They're going to charge everybody. So if, let's say, Randall Weddle, hypothetically, I'm not saying he did this, but let's say Randall Weddle killed somebody. They're going to nab up everybody in that ring, and they're all going to get charged with that murder because they're part of the organization, the racketeering organization. And what they do is they just round up everybody, charge them all with the same crimes, and then they put them in jail, and then they wait. Who's gonna rat first? And they always do. every single time. It happened in Trump's case here in Fulton County. It happened in of course the ratting wasn't worth anything. It happened in the Young Thug case here in Atlanta too. Some of them guys were trying to rat on Young Thug, and then they get on the stand. Woody gets on the stand and just answers every question with the most ridiculous thing he could think of, which was, it screwed the whole case up. But anyway, that's how RICO cases work. I think that's what they're building. I think they're going to come in here one day deep. They're going to come in here super deep and just start making people disappear. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't know for sure. I don't hang out with the FBI, but just seeing the pattern of the investigation, what's transpiring, I think that's what's going to happen. So if any of the Weddleites would like to go ahead and clear their name, please feel free to reach out to me. I will definitely help you do that. You got to provide me with some damn good information though, beyond the stuff I already know, which I'm starting to put together some other stuff because there was a news outlet, the Manchester Enterprise, and which I was going to put the email up there, but I forgot. They said some really nasty things about Bonnie in her arrest article, and which they were trying to manipulate the audience to automatically assume guilt. Because we know that upon my initial preliminary investigations, that there's a lot of connections between Randall Weddle and Clay County and some of the good old boys from that area. So I emailed the producer of this news outlet, and I emailed him and I said, hey, you should probably, since Bonnie's case has been dismissed, you should probably get to the idiot that wrote the article trying to blast her all over the internet and issue an apology, which I knew it was probably him that wrote it. And he said, oh, she'll be back. She'll be back in jail. And I said, I'm going to use that as your official statement. And he said, I don't give a crap what you do. If you stand with her, you're a fool. And which I proudly stand with Bonnie. I mean, who's perfect in this world? Nobody. I'm not perfect. Bonnie's not perfect. Rachel's not perfect. Donna's pretty close to perfect. I can't say anything bad about her. But anyway, that's a statement that's going to cause some controversy, I'm sure. But the point is that they maliciously attacked Bonnie. So I took the initiative. I said, okay, you want to be a smart ass? I'm going to tear Clay County apart. So I've been doing that. I have gotten a whole email full of dirt on that producer's entire family, some of his associates, associates, and some of the other old families, including what's his nuts that runs the limo company there in London. I've received all kinds of information on that guy. I don't understand how he's somebody who holds on to money for the tourist industry. Makes no sense. Oh, I've got my own mob now. Awesome. Maybe I can be cool and get my own RICO case. What's going to be the best part about it is in the end, he's going to lose. They've already lost. They just don't know. They just haven't realized it yet. If the FBI is going to come out of the woodwork like that and go after specific people, they're letting you know we're coming. Because otherwise, the FBI is way more discreet. They are very discreet. They will meet you in back alleys. They're not going to just show up, knock on your door and go, hey man, don't tell nobody I'm here, but can I talk to you for a minute? They're not going to do that. They did it to those two specific people because they're the ones that are going to go back and throw a fit. And and that's going to stir the pot. The FBI wants to whettle people to be afraid. And it's funny because they want to stand behind the blue, but boy, don't mess with the FBI. They ain't trying to kick it with the FBI. But it also tells me that Weddleites, Randall may not have as much pull as what y'all think he does. So I'm just going to sit back and watch the House of Cards fall. So anyway, I found some other interesting stuff. You know how the cops always say that they're not corrupt in Kentucky, but I was looking at some cases. Let me find it. So there is a Kentucky State Police scandal. A state trooper, James Cameron Wright, was indicted by federal authorities for multiple civil rights violations. The report suggests that his claim of command or his chain of command may have known about or even approved of some misconduct. What he's accused of, now he comes out of post, I think the Elizabethtown Post. Post 4, yeah, Elizabethtown. So according to the U.S. Department of Justice and multiple Kentucky news outlets, Trooper Wright, he faced 2 counts of unreasonable use of force, 1 count of perjury for allegedly lying under oath in a federal civil case involving civil rights violations. Boy, does that sound like a certain state trooper that I just did a whole entire segment about who perjured himself on the stand. Who was that? Blake Owen? Yeah, that's Blake Owens. That's who it was. Let's see. He was also, there's excessive force incidents reportedly occurred between 2020 and 2024 involving at least 4 individuals. The perjury charge stems from Wright's allegedly denying that he struck a man during an arrest. Right. Justice for Jason. And there were other troopers indicted as well. Thomas Czartoryski, it's got a CZ in the beginning. Czartoryski, I don't know how you say that, this Czechoslovakian stuff. But he got 2 counts of unreasonable force. Jared Lewis, 1 count of unreasonable force. And then, of course, James Cameron Wright. So some of the reporting suggests that elements of Wright's chain of command knew what was going on. Nobody said anything. They let it happen. But the FBI figured it out and people got arrested. So we're good on that. Separate from the federal indictment, Wright is also being sued for body camera recorded incident in which he allegedly tasered and pepper sprayed a non-resisting passenger. This lawsuit highlights a pattern of alleged abuse predating the federal charges. Yeah, post 4, Linda, post 4. If you want, no, I don't want. So multiple reports on his federal indictment specify that the excessive force incidents and related lawsuits stem from traffic stops and arrest in Hardin County, which is part of KSP Post 4. Bonnie, you look like a Czechoslovakian. I would have guessed that. Just kidding. I can't never pronounce any of the words. Anytime I look at a Czechoslovakian or a map of like any of those areas over there, I can't pronounce none of that stuff. I don't understand how a C and a Z. What sound does a C and a Z make together? I don't know. I'm confused. But we've got a lot of stuff brewing. I have a feeling that the London circus is going to continue. Clay County is about to start buzzing. I'm going to start doing stuff on them like a lot. But I got to collect some more information, so I'm excited about that. I got some work to do tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff going on. I need to get to work. I need more hours in the day. I need some assistance, and I'm too busy. Now that the Jews want me to be on their stuff, like I can't keep up. Oh, here we go. How am I supposed to say that? Bonnie Halen Kavik. Halen Kavik. Halen. Van Halen Kavik. You related to the Van Halens? Shortened to Halen. I know that's the crazy thing. Like all the Europeans back in the day when they came over here, they were shortening their name because they didn't want to get outed for their origins. A lot of families have done that. But everybody keep your eyes and ears peeled. I urge you all, do not retaliate against any of the Weddleites. Let them say what they want to say. Let them do what they want to do. They are under the microscope. Let them be microscoped. Bonnie. Everybody behave themselves and be peaceful. Be peaceful. But that's it for the show today. I got stuff to do. I'm out. Peace. Stay safe, Rachel.